WeRiseNation.com.
This where the grown men stay so you can kill that noise. We be the best to do it, coming out of Illinois. So sit back and relax, close your mouth and listen. We bout to hit you with this knowledge that you've been missing. Listen closely to the Grown Men Podcast. We Rise Nation is the station with the gift of gab. We dropping knowledge on these topics that you wanna hear. We on point with it, get the picture loud and clear. If you seek it, you will find what you looking for. And once you hear us, it'll leave you looking for some more. Open the door, let us in, we got a special vibe. Now close the door, lock us in, and enjoy the ride. We about to talk about some things that make a lot of sense. And what we talking about, here sometimes will get intense. That's what we looking for, trying to spark a conversation. Join us live or you can listen on the We Rise Nation. This where the grown men stay so you can kill that noise. We be the best to do it, coming out of Illinois. So sit back and relax, close your mouth and listen. We bout to hit you with this knowledge that you've been missing. This where the grown men stay so you can kill that noise.
Welcome back to another edition of the Grown Men Podcast. I am your host, BAN, and welcome back to the show. Well, folks, last week we had a topic we talked about, and we stuck to it as my brother Mark, M-A-R-C, not M-A-R-K, as the transcripts like to lay it out. But anyway, Mark is back remotely with us again, and we got another topic to talk about this week that is very important to us, and it should be important to you as well. And Mark, it's something that I've been talking about all week, and I spoke with you as well, and it is about what do Black Americans want? That is going to be the topic this week, and we got a lot to unpack with that because I know you've been doing research all week, and I've been so as well, but I know you've been doing a lot of heavy research on it, and I'm gonna relent to you and you tell me, what do you think Black Americans want?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say like heavy research, but I mean, it's pretty much all common. I mean, first off, let me say it's a pleasure, as always, to be back on the program.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Grown Man Podcast, GMP.
Yep.
And yes, this week's episode and these like issues, I mean, we really need to like hit home and like really like, focus on this thing here. And is, as Black people in this country, we've been in this country for a long time. Let me start off by saying like Black people has been the driving force of the United States economy since its establishment.
I agree wholeheartedly.
From the very beginning of this so-called nation.
I agree.
And like, no,
go ahead. I was just saying I agree.
I'm sorry about that.
No,
yes.
I was just saying I agree wholeheartedly with everything you just laid out.
Absolutely. And I mean, like I said, it's worth repeating because like many of us, I mean, and that's being nice about it because I think a lot, like I think it's more like, you know what I'm saying, I would almost argue like almost most of us. And like, like as far as like in our area, I don't think they understand those things. Black people being the driving force to the United States economy. What do I mean by that? I mean, like without us, the United States do not exist. They do not make money. Like, so, like, if you want to, like, argue about it, and we're not going to go into, like, deep history, but I do encourage people to read more because, I mean, low-key, we don't read as much as we need to in this country. I mean, that's just, like, flat out the truth about it. But you should read more, and particularly history and things of that nature. But, like, from the very start of this country, if you want to be a believer in, like, yeah, Christopher Columbus came over and discovered this, that, and everything else. But what I'm talking about is the chattel slavery. Mm-hmm. Those was Black bodies that they brought over here that they brought to here from Africa. The chattel slavery, the cotton fields, picking tobacco and everything like that. That's what grew the like United States economy. Like, fast forward to where we are today, we are still doing so. We are the driving force. Last week we was talking very heavy about sports. and everything, all the shenanigans that goes around with that, the big business and all that kind of stuff, where there wouldn't be no big business if it wasn't for black bodies. I mean, that's something that like our people in particularly have to understand, but all people in this United States and beyond needs to understand and realize as well. That's just the truth. It's just plain facts. If you was to get rid of every single black person out of this country tomorrow, the United States would like disappear pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean, economic wise, that's the truth.
Yeah, I agree 100% with what you're saying as well. And when I was looking it up, I was looking at some of the principles of what African Americans want. And number one at the top of that list, they said reparations, affirmative action, political representation, education and opportunity, and social change. So those key factors right there, those key points are exactly what we need as black Americans in this country that we have yet to receive. And there's a lot of people who talk about these things all the time. And as I said, I listen to, a lot of different podcasts and what people have to say. And there are some who say, okay, how long are we going to sit around and wait on reparations to be given to us that never will? And I think it was Willie D who made a good point where he said, just because something is not attainable, don't mean you don't quit trying to achieve it. In other words, meaning just because they're not giving it doesn't mean you're supposed to stop talking about it. That's what Willie D told Slim Thug, and he made that point. And it was a good point because that's what I was thinking at the same time. You don't stop.
I was going to say, too, here's another good point, too. I mean, to keep in mind for, like, everybody, everything that you just mentioned, you know what I'm saying, happens through politics.
Exactly.
And because that's another thing, that's another big thing with, like a lot of people in our community, and, like, you know what I'm saying, elsewise that, like, say, like, they don't do politics. And we talked about that before. They may not do politics, but politics do all of us all the time, 24/7.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that, like, you should be, like, constantly, like, zoned in. Everybody have a life. We understand that. You got jobs, you got family, you got things you want to do, everything like that. Like, it's not like, you know what I'm saying, like, say that you should be, like, all, like, super, you know what I'm saying, political about things. But, yeah, we do got to pay attention. And I don't begrudge people for not voting. Like, I mean, I get people have their reasons and stuff, and, like, a lot of it is justified when you don't see change or you don't understand these things. I'm not going to call nobody stupid, but I will say that they are ignorant to certain things. And that's not trying to be insulting. It's just that you don't understand certain things. And, like, civics is a big thing that we need to push for harder in our educational system. Like, basically the civics from, like, the time when like, I went to school is way different from what it was when my daughter was in grade school and high school.
Right.
Which means it's less.
Right.
And there's a reason for that. I mean, there's a reason that they don't want us to be aware of, like, you know what I'm saying, the power we have with a vote. I mean, think about it. People with money, with means, people, corporations, and that got, like, you know what I'm saying, all these wealthy people that have all the money in the world, guess what they do? They vote.
Yeah.
They always vote.
Yeah.
Because they know that they can use their influence, and we got that too. And that's something that we have to educate and continue to educate ourselves on about.
Well, I agree with you 100% what you just said, Mark, because I'm going to take it a step further. Recently, the big elections happened, and they call it the blue wave and this type of thing. And the news that came out was that 50 Cent said he's done with New York City and he's moving to Florida. Bye. See, he's the type of black that I'm talking about, along with my other blacks who are celebrities and entertainers. They truly believe that the only way to get over in this world is financially. And see, they couldn't be more wronger. Because for the simple fact, yes, you can have money. And I go back to the old adage, what George Jefferson said, right? When he said, if you got enough green, then black becomes his favorite color. That's to an extent. because that applies to financial sides. But when it comes to social changes and things of that nature, finances play no key role in that. Because we can all be Rodney King. We can all be George Floyd and have knees on our neck. And a lot of us have been there, whether you're a celebrity or athlete or anybody. That's where they're wrong when they think that money will change them for being considered as a second-class citizen. What do you say?
I mean, well, I say that, because it's so much nuance with that, because that's a whole, and to be honest with you, that's a whole completely different conversation right there. And I don't know if we're going to have enough time to address that on today's program, because it's that's pretty much capitalism, and that's like, we are in a capitalist nation. That's not going to change overnight.
No.
With the big win with Mayor-elect Mondani.
Right.
And I follow, I've been following this guy for like about 6 months now because of the stuff that he's talking about. I'm definitely aligned with all of that because I believe capitalism is evil. Mm-hmm. And as far as where we come from, especially like with black people, that's come from the South and the hood and all that kind of stuff. We have been taught from the very beginning, from childhood, that you need money, that you need these things. Like if you don't have money, when you have entertainers like a Lil Wayne and aforementioned 50 Cent, it's get rich, die trying. If you don't got no money, you know what I'm saying, you ain't nothing. Basically, to kind of quote what Lil Wayne commented years ago, pretty much saying you pretty much is useless, you're nothing if you don't have money. And that's something that's been impelled. So I say all that to say as far as I agree with you, but I understand why black people feel that way. And 50 Cent and people like him who has made it, get rich, die trying. He got shot 9 times and he came from the hoods and he's up there. So many of our people that make it up to that next, stage or having financial success, they often forget where they came from. A la Ice Cube. It's like they don't understand what you were saying as far as building up your community, because they're not looking back in those communities. 50 Cent and people like him, they're donate a couple bucks here and there, help a couple kids, get to college. But like we talked about before with Jackie Robinson, when he in his book, I never had it big. I never made it big. Because he was under the belief that I'm not free until we are all free. Martin said it. Malcolm, anybody you can sit there and think of that truly went out there, got in them streets and put it all on the line, had the understanding that we are not free until everybody is free. And that's why Mayor-elect Mondani, his whole campaign, it was based off of affordability and humanity, equal rights for everybody. Right. And the problem is that in this country, we don't want to have humanity for everybody. We sit there and say that we do, but we don't really believe it by the actions and stuff. The fact that you get all these attacks, the fact that you got Mr. Van Jones, having to run his mouth, talking about, that was the most diverse of speech or a divisive speech Mr. Mondani made and this and that, we know that Van Jones gets his bag from AIPAC, gets his bag from Jeff Bezos. They gave him the big $100 million check a few years ago. Right. He's on that side of the aisle. So people like 50 Cent is on that side of the aisle, which means they're with the billionaires. They're with the capitalism and all that kind of stuff. But so if you want to leave New York, goodbye, sir.
But see, you take a character like 50 Cent. That's exactly what he's always been, a character, right?
Absolutely.
But You made your money off the backs of black people because they're the ones that watched your shows, not me. Because like I told Steele, I never watched anything that had his name on it. I have no respect for him, and I could care less because he's that black. He's that black. He's happy to make money off the backs of black people, and yet you want to think you're better than black people, and you think that these white people will accept you? They only accept you because you talk down on your people. That's what he does. That's what a lot of these black celebrities do. And white people will put you on television forever if you put down other black people. They love it. They live for it. And if somebody said this on their podcast, and they said, we criticize black people more than anybody else criticize us, and that's why we don't advance. And he was 100% correct with that.
But that's the whole thing about it, though. Like, people actually listen to this guy. They listen to Stephen A. Smith. It's at some point. Will black folks? Do you think that black people can really wake the hell up and really be woke? That buzzword that nobody like to use anymore, woke. Are we gonna really wake up and stop supporting these type of people? Because that's what it would take. To quiet people like 50 Cent, quiet these people down. And you've seen Stephen A. Smith get his whole backside handed to him. He got them cheeks spanked hard when he went after Jasmine Crockett, representative out of Texas. When he went after her because he didn't realize the base, the falling that she has. She has a falling almost mirrors Obama's following, right? As far as people that's gonna support her, that's not gonna sit down and list of people trash her for no reason, especially when they have no knowledge of what the hell they are talking about at all. So it gotta take that type of commitment and dedication. I want to go to a article in the Tribe, which we had spoke about before. If I can pull it up real quick. For our people, for black people, as far as trying to come together, try and do some different things. Here's what's going on in the Tribe. That's a black-owned publication, by the way. Right. These articles are free to look up. If you you can do a Google search for the Tribes in Chicago. That's TRIIBE. Mm-hmm. And this is they take donations and things like that. So I would encourage people to drop a little money, because this is black-owned media. Right. Which is they seek out stories for us, for our interests, and to keep us informed. But they write an article in there. This is talking about a bill that just got passed through the House and the Senate of Illinois, because as we know, we still in day 34 now, I believe, of the government is shut down. That's federal. I thought it was 38. It's on the state. Yeah. 38 days. That's a whole ass conversation right there too. But going back to this article real quick, the Clean Slate Illinois Coalition, CSIL, a diverse group of social justice organizations, is celebrating after the Illinois state legislature passed the Clean Slate Act on October 30th, the final day of the fall veto session. The Clean Slate Act will streamline expungement and record sealing statewide, helping millions of Illinois residents hindered by past arrest and conviction records. With the approval of both chambers, the Clean Slate Act now awaits a signature from Governor J.B. Pritzker. At the moment, it's unclear if Pritzker supports the legislation. The Tribe reached out to Pritzker's office for comments, but hasn't received a response yet. So why am I telling you this? Because this is a bill right now that's on the floor that can help many black people. Because as we know, there's people that's been arrested for crime like having drugs, or even being arrested and locked up for things that they didn't do.
Yeah.
And that goes on your record, and that stops you from like being able to get a job. So when you can't find work, what else you gonna do? I guess I'm gonna sell some drugs, or I'm gonna try to be an athlete, or like, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna try to rap and do all these hustle and schemes and things like that, because you're not thinking about college, because that stuff appears like when you're trying to apply for like, you know, school or something like that, they can pull up your records and things like that. So this is something within, again, politics, that people should be making calls to the governor's office right now, encouraging him to sign off on this bill, to like, yes, put this in law. Now, we know the governor is like, you know, thinking about a presidential run. And of course, the backlash would be from something like this if he signs off on it. Look at Governor Pritzker. Oh, he's letting out criminals and giving blah, 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 all that noise and stuff that they're going to come up with anyway, calling them a socialist or whatever. I mean, they're always going to come up with that. But this is something for our people that can make change in our community right now today, you know, and that's something that people need to be aware of. I know we get caught up into sports and entertainment all the time, but these important issues, these bills, these stories, people need to be aware of. Is it because you say that we are waking up, that you're seeing more black people wake up as far as like in our area? Because I know throughout the country and pretty much going back to, you know what I'm saying, what we began with, what do black voters want, what the black people want out their government. Are we there to unify as a people and understand our power and push for something like this?
Well, absolutely, Mark. And I believe what you said is 100% accurate. And I read that article as well. Now, here's my take. I believe that J.B. Pritzker is a liberal-minded thinking person. However, if he does not sign this, then you have to kind of wonder where his head is. Because he's a man that I voted for. Now, I'm not going to vote for Darren Bailey. You know, I'm sorry what happened to his family and everything that goes on with that. But I will not vote for a guy like Darren Bailey. However, I will be critical of J.B. Pritzker if he doesn't sign this into law. I have to call a spade a spade. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So no matter how much I like the other things that he does, especially when he goes after that lunatic, I love him for all that.
Sir.
But if he does not do this, which is the right thing, then we have to once again say, are you doing what black Americans want or need? And if you are not...
And that's the thing, too. Let me just say this real quick, too. And that's the thing, too, that's very important, what you just said. Like, yes, you vote for the man and everything, because, I mean, he's the better of the two candidates. I mean, unfortunately, we are in a two-party system, whether we like it or not. We could change that, too, as well. If enough of us, like, you know, get out there and like push for that to happen. But the thing about it is that these politicians are not your friends, are not your superheroes. You know, I mean, it's like you're supposed to hold their feet to the fire. You're supposed to push them. After all, they are politicians, which means that one of the, top priorities for them is to stay in office, stay in power. But we are the people, we are their bosses. We give them the power. So you have to check them on these issues like this. And that's what enough of us don't do, unfortunately. When we had our black president in office for 8 years, I don't believe enough of us in our community really pushed him to do more things and stuff. I mean, that's just a reality of the situation. And we talked about that before. And I mean, we're going to, you know what I'm saying, continue to bring that up here and there, but I bring that up just to say, like, we got to stop, you know, trying to fall in love with our politicians. There's nothing wrong with being inspired by people. Mondani is a man that inspired me. I mean, that speech that he gave, I listened to the whole thing, and it's like, that's the type of politician that you want. You want somebody to inspire, to get more younger people involved in the voting process, because the whole reality of it, the boomers are dying. Like the people that put in that work doing Dr. King them days and stuff, those folks are dying off. or they're really like older. We see Nancy Pelosi retire, and I'm glad that she finally retired. I mean, frankly, I think she could have retired maybe about 5 years ago, but that's neither here and there. But I give her all the respect in the world, because one thing, whether you like her or not, I mean, to be the Speaker of the House, she was probably one of the best you ever seen, because she stood on business and she wasn't afraid to back down. Mr. Jeffries, right now, I mean, we'll see. Hopefully he gets more courage and gets more backbone, but yeah, you want to push your politicians to do the best for the people. Well, and that goes back to what I said earlier. We have power. We got to recognize it.
Yeah, well, speaking of Hakeem Jeffries, he has been coming out more bolder lately because his constituents have been pushing him to. That's why they were talking about it when I was listening to it last night, when I was listening to it on one of the shows I was watching. And they were saying that if they fold on this healthcare, their base is going to be angry. And that blue wave will not be so blue next year. But see, my thing about that is, and I get tired of people talking about this blue wave or they can stall that out if they don't do this. Look, people on this side may say, okay, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Who is going to do you the most damage? And that's what you have to go with. It's like you said earlier, Mark, you have a two-party system. Who's going to do you and your people the most damage? Now, the Democratic Party, we know that some of the old guard has to retire, right? And they have to phase out. That's why Big Dick Durbin here in Illinois is getting out of there. And like you just mentioned, Nancy Pelosi, she's getting out of there. So, all of those people are starting to get out. Now, the younger people are starting to get in. And they want to push the remaining people like the Hakeem Jeffries, like the Cory Bookers, and all these other ones. They want to push them and say, look, if you guys are not going to do the job we sent you there to do, we'll primary against you and we'll get you out of there. And they're holding these guys accountable as well they should.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. And that's going to be a tough task because of all that big money and stuff. That's what it all boils down to. Again, what we began with is like this capitalism. It's that big money. It's that big AIPAC money. But AIPAC is becoming more and more of a poison pill.
Well, they pulled that money from Hakeem Jeffries when he went and pushed for Mondami to be mayor. So they pulled some of the big Jewish donors pulled money from Hakeem Jeffries.
I did not hear about that.
Yeah,
but
they did.
That's something like interesting right there because, his endorsements was like, lukewarm at best. And he hasn't really been too vocal to congratulate him like he did Steinberg, them over there in Virginia and all that stuff.
At first he didn't. But then in the last days, once again, that's where it says pushing them works.
He had to come out the door because his district that he represented, went heavily for like Mondani.
Right.
It's really embarrassing and really stupid for him and Chuck Schumer, especially him because Schumer knows his days are numbered in the Senate.
Right.
His days are numbered. If you don't get taken out by AOC in 4 years, it'll be somebody else because he's always to me been like the weakest leader I ever seen. I used to call him Droopy Dog. That's who he reminded me of. You know what? That makes me mad. Let me go write this strongly worded letter. It's like, come on, man. Dude. And the fact that I seen him on what was it? MSNBC or whatever, one of those programs where they sit there and just ask him directly, who did you vote for in the mayor race in New York? He didn't want to even give an answer. It's like, come on, man, just stand on. It's beyond ridiculous. For this reason alone, with the Democrats, they always say vote blue no matter who. That guy, Mondani, won the Democratic primary. That is your guy, and you are a Democrat. So by default, if nothing else, you have to support him. If you are a Democrat, you are the leader of the Senate for the Democrats. It's like, come on, man. So this guy is it's well past time for him to go ahead and lay down.
I agree.
Go to bed.
I agree 100%. I mean, some people stay there, overstay their welcome, and in his case, speaking of Chuck Schumer, he's overstayed his welcome. I mean, the old days of the 80s and the 90s where guys sit there on C-SPAN and they talk for hours at a time and nobody gave a damn with what they're saying is over. We want more Jasmine Crockett's. We want more AOC's. We want more Madamis. We want these people because they are the pulse of what's going on right now, what people are feeling. People not knowing where their next meal's coming from. Are they going to be able to keep the lights on? Are they going to be able to clothe their children? These things are important. See, it's not important to those people because they haven't. If you have money, it's not important. The same way I piggyback to what we were saying about these celebrities. And you take guys like 50 Cent and you spoke of Cube and them people. They've never had a 9-to-5 job in their life. None of them. So they don't know anything about it.
They haven't had it for like a very, very long time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the point what I'm saying, Mark, is that they are disconnected from that. They're disconnected for that world. They don't live in a world that you and I live in. That our parents lived in or that our siblings lived in, where we got up every day and went to work. That's what I tell people all the time. And people say, how can you do it? I said, because I have a work ethic. This current job that I'm at, been there 10 years, never missed a day. Never missed a day. So it's my work ethic. And it says, and people like 50 Cent will look down and say, well, you must be doing something crazy for you to still be financially where you are. You should have more. I don't look at it like that. I look at family first. God first, family, and everything else after that. Because yes, I could have been a millionaire if I wanted to be, but it wouldn't have been me doing what I wanted to do. And me being a millionaire, would that help anybody that much? Other than finances, would it help social change? No. We need to change the way we think. That's how we get further. If we don't change the way we think, we're never going to get to where we want to be. It's that simple.
And that goes to the question that I had asked. And and that's pretty much that's kind of like the rub right there for black people, black Americans. Is like once we get something in front of us, once we get that $1 million in our hands and we see that, we too many of us quickly forget where we came from. That old saying, you forget where you came from.
Yep.
There's a guy, and I apologize because I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but it popped in my head. It was a black guy. He was a banker in Alabama, and we could probably look that up at a later date. But my whole point is this guy. He started off with nothing because this was way back in I want to say the 20s or 30s, something like that. And, so of course he came from nothing, but he built himself up. But he had a couple banks and I believe a couple hotels and all that kind of stuff. And then what he did was when he was about to retire, he gave his employees opportunity to buy the bank from him. And he actually had lowered the price that he was originally asking for because enough of them was able to pull together some money. It wasn't all the money that he asked for, but he, he pretty much did right by his people is what I'm saying. And that's how it should be. This guy had money. He could have been whatever, I'm just going to go ahead and, keep this, forever or pass it down in my family or something like that. I'm going to forget about, no, he took care of his workers who was loyal to him, who worked hard for him and all of that, and kept that thing going. And not like enough of us do, but what we do is blame ourselves for things like going into what we just talked about with the government shutdown, because you have SNAP benefits, links, Section 8, all that stuff is up in the air now, although a judge told this Trump administration that, yes, you have to make payments for those SNAP benefits. and he his answer was to like repeal it. So there we go again. Like,
I mean,
the guy, he cares so much about the country and all that, but he's gonna like repeal a judicial order yet again.
Once again, it's bureaucracy at its finest, because they were speaking about that, and they were saying even when they release the money, it's going to be a slow process to turn that system back on.
Absolutely.
And it's ridiculous. It's asinine.
Argentina about to get $40 billion, but
they'll get $40 billion. But it's asinine. But they don't care. But see, people have to understand. They think that SNAP, once again, we getting free subsidies from the government. Free. This is about food and people who don't have food. Don't you know that when the economy is doing well, it's because Black Americans are doing well, and it's not just Black Americans who benefit from SNAP. It's other races as well. So when Black Americans have a little money, right, and they don't have to worry about starving, they put that money back in the economy by buying things like automobiles, clothing, and other different things that we buy.
Yes.
So it's not like that money doesn't go back into the system. So when the GOP tries to make that argument, I said that's bull, because it's false and untrue.
And this is my point though, B, and this is the problem that we have. Not like we as in you and I, but you, but us as a society, as a nation, whatever. Like, this is the problem that we always have, is like, we blame these folks that's on SNAP, that's Section 8 and all that kind of stuff, and we call them lazy, and they're not doing so. And like, let's be fair, like, we've known, like, lazy people in our lives, sure, but that's all anecdotal. Like, a couple people, hell, 10, 20 people that's like lazy, that's not trying to work, that's not trying to do anything, but that should not, that do not give everybody that identity. Everybody on SNAP, on Section 8, got a link card, are not lazy people. You got people that's serving in the military today that is on SNAP benefits. You have people that have disabilities. You have elderly folks. You have somebody that's working a job that's on that has a link card. You got college students and stuff that's trying to do something better for their lives that need that link card to feed themselves. And we make the mistake of like, we're importing and we're like blaming the marginalized people for like our problems. I got to pay taxes, for these benefits. That come out my check, people on welfare, on link, blah, blah, blah. But how many times you hear people like, oh man, this come out my check, these like bums that's going to bomb, kids in Gaza.
Yeah.
Or that's coming out my check every time Trump about to send $1 billion to his, Argentinian buddy over there, or that we paying these weapon manufacturers.
What really?
How much money did the Pentagon get every year? About $800 billion.
Exactly. And what really?
And they're $1 trillion.
And what really made me mad about it, Mark, was when he's sending our money to Argentina. Yet he cut out the money for the little food that was available for those kids in Africa. And they were saying like 60,000 people have died because they cut off the aid to a country over there in Africa. And those black children and some of those adults died. And all they were getting, they had the food there. The food's there in package. All it is was little peanut butter and protein for them to live off. They said, we can't afford to do that anymore. But we can afford to give billions of dollars to a country. Why? Because Trump wants the rights. Once again, it's not for us. It's for him and his criminal family. He doesn't care about black Americans, but see, he goes out and does these little things, like his latest thing he just did. He's pardoned Darryl Strawberry. So that's supposed to make all black people happy. Our problems go away. You go and pardon black people, and then you try to sell black people on, see what I'm doing? You know, this is what I'm doing for black people. Darryl Strawberry was an athlete who had a lot of money, and he had a lot of issues with drugs. I'm sorry if I don't feel sorry for Darryl Strawberry, because Darryl Strawberry had an opportunity that most of us would have gave up our lives to have, and that's to play Major League Baseball. And he was the one that decided to get in trouble for drugs. But see, Trump will pardon him. But if he sees a crackhead on the street or a homeless person, he won't help them at all. That's what type of man he is. And for black Americans...
Let me say this, like in regards to like Mr. Strawberry, because I mean, I've seen him on like things years before. I don't want to say like, I don't know if he like necessarily asked for a pardon or whatever. I mean, that's Trump doing what he does, same way he had partner Larry Hoover.
Look, I'm not.
I mean, like, you know, Strawberry, like, I mean, I don't want to say just to his defense, like he has a knowledge, like, you know, his wrongdoings and things like that. I mean, but yeah, I mean, that's just another game that Trump plays. But I mean, I would say this, that this administration is pure evil. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. These are fascists, as that word gets tossed around, but they truly are. They are evil. Donald Trump himself is a very cruel and evil man. He always has been.
Well,
I mean, from like, you know, being a slumlord towards his black tenants to wanting to see those 5 black kids be murdered, who was wrongfully accused of raping a white woman in New York in the 90s.
Exactly. He
like
wanted
all
them
the stuff
executed.
he's doing right now. This guy's evil and he's dying. He knows it. He don't care.
He wanted those people executed. But to go back, I'm going to go back to this statement on what we was talking about with Strawberry. Look, I'm not knocking Darryl Strawberry or Doc Gooden. I know they had issues. I'm not knocking them. It's me saying this is a show that Trump puts on, that he tries to audition his love for black Americans. The only black Americans he like are the ones that are celebrities. Anybody else from any normal walk of life, he could care less about.
Donald Trump is he's transsectional. I mean, he's transitional. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. I mean, it got to be a means to an end for him. Like if he gonna do anybody any kind of favor, he got to get something out of it. But I mean, bottom line, that's just what. I mean, that's how he always been. But yeah, I wasn't saying that you was like, you know what I'm saying, like tearing them down, whatever. I just wanted to put that out there for like, you know, the people who may not be aware of, you know, the Darryl Strawberry story and all that. And I encourage people to look that up. You can YouTube it. I'm quite sure there's all kind of videos and documentaries about, like, you know what I'm saying, their struggles and things like that. That's just drug addiction. I mean, but just going back to like, and just what you had laid out with that. I mean, again, like Trump, you know, doing stuff, I mean, and then you have some black folks, you know, I mean, that will sit there and fall for the okie doke.
Yeah.
And we really can't afford to do that, because the thing about it is that ever since he got back in power, he's been doing the rolling back of black progress in this country. I mean, you know, which plays right into us trying to seek better lives. He's been rolling back, you know, everything about the Civil Rights Act, the 65 Civil Rights Act, and I believe was the 66, 67 Voting Rights Act, from like, 50, 60 years ago almost. You know,
yeah,
they've been slowly rolling that stuff back.
Yes.
And like, you know, we as black Americans need to wake up and be aware of these things, because here's the problem and stuff. We get too accustomed to, like, you know what I'm saying, things as they are, like these freedoms that we have right now in today's world. We forget where we came from. We forget about that Jim Crow South, about the Jim Crow South, where you had to step off a sidewalk when a white person walked past, where you had to get on the back of that bus and give up your seat when a white person was getting on the bus, and you know what I'm saying, so on and so forth.
And don't forget about the most
drinking fountains and everything.
And don't forget
we can easily go back to that. Is what I'm trying to get at.
And don't forget
we can easily go right back to that.
And don't forget about the most important part. You don't touch a white person's clothes when a white person's in them.
Exactly. Unless you the tailor or unless you're gonna shine his shoe.
Exactly.
Black people.
We
want to go back to shining shoes.
Did you see that short video that the guy had? I think they posted it on TikTok, where the guy was talking to Tim Scott, and he was like, "Yeah, man, you a sellout, man. No, let me tell you, brother. Yeah. No, you not my brother."
Yeah.
And
I seen that. I think I sent it to Matt because I seen that on like YouTube or something. The guy was just berating him, and he had that Tim Scott just did nothing, just walk around that goofy smile screen, looking like one of those Bill Cosby characters. What's that cartoon Cosby had?
Fat Albert.
Yeah. He looked like the guy from Fat Albert.
I always say
go ahead.
I always say he the grandson of the guy on Three Stooges. I'm losing my mind.
Him too.
Help me. But
that guy was dropping straight facts on Tim Scott.
Yeah,
Tim Scott knows it.
He knows it. Like he just came to the defense of the TSA workers because what's that lady named? Nancy Mace or whatever her name is.
Oh yeah.
One of the Republican people was berating them, and he was like, these people work hard. They don't deserve to be treated that way. Now you say something. See, this is the thing about a guy like Tim Scott. He ain't gonna say anything until he actually see it with his own eyes. He one of them blacks who don't believe nobody get mistreated unless he see it in front of his eyes. And even when he see it, he tried to make an excuse for it. Like he tried to make an excuse for what happened to George Floyd.
He's a boy.
Yeah.
He's their boy.
Yeah.
And, that's pretty much to say he's going to do what he's told. And, he had to speak up a little bit because at the same time, he still is a elected U.S. senator in South Carolina. So he still have, people that have to vote for him to be senator again.
Yeah. Yep.
So he'd do a little pushback here and there. He'd do a little pushback by trying to get on the what was that Trump was trying to do, the crime bill or what? Not the crime bill, the First Step Act.
Yeah.
And all that, try to get himself involved in that. And then when that kind of fell apart and stuff, because he was the guy that's supposed to help get the George Floyd bill passed.
Right.
And talk about, he's going to get 10 Republicans and stuff. They told that Negro, man, if you don't get out my face so fast, come on, man.
He's a joke. He's a joke. And I just wish somebody in South Carolina with some stones would say, you know what? Enough of this guy. Enough.
And again, it takes us the people. It takes the people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It takes the people because that man sit there and met with George Floyd's family. He sat down with them and talked to them for hours and stuff, just giving them lip service, just giving them word salad and all that. Oh yeah, we're gonna do this and that, and then it was all for nothing. It's what I'm saying? That's just so disrespectful, so disgraceful because Tim Scott's another guy that likes to sit there and talk about how oh yeah, I did experience racism too, but things got so much better for me. It got better for me and stuff because he knows his mother was on these programs that we talk about. His mother was on food stamps and things like that back in the day. So Tim Scott is well aware of that.
Yes.
And do you see him up and trying to get the government open? Nope. Because he's a boy. He's their boy. Yep. He does what he's told.
He does exactly what he's told.
He loves Mr. Trump. I love you, sir.
Yes, sir. Rub my head for luck. That's him.
And he's low-key homo with a lot of these GOP senators and Congress people. They're low-key in the closet. He's one of them dudes that they was calling them homosexual for a while, and that didn't look good for him because they're not really too ready for gay Republicans. Not in this generation. Maybe another 40 years that'd be a little bit more acceptable. Mm-hmm. But that's why he had to hurry up and get him some kind of wife. And I mean, frankly, I'm kind of surprised that they allowed him to marry that white lady.
That's true, but I want to talk a little bit more about what Black Americans want. And I came across this piece right here that says, Black Americans desire a society where they have equal rights and opportunities, free from racial discrimination and inequality. They seek to overcome the historical injustices and barriers to prosperity and equality that have persisted throughout the United States history. Key demands include reparations. Black Americans advocate for reparations to address the economic and social disparities caused by slavery and discriminatory policies. This includes individual cash payments and wealth building opportunities in education, housing, and business ownership. Affirmative action. There is a push for continued support of affirmative action and diversity, equity, and inclusion policies to ensure equal opportunities for Black Americans in education, employment, and government. Political representation. Black Americans want to be represented in political leadership and decision-making processes to ensure their voices are heard and their needs are met. Education and opportunity is a strong desire that can be improved through educational opportunities as well as access to wealth-building resources to help Black Americans achieve economic stability. And the final one is social change. Black Americans are committed to social change and seek to build institutions that support their communities, emphasizing freedom, self-determination, and equal protection under the law. These demands reflect the collective aspirations of Black Americans for a society where they can thrive and contribute fully to the nation. So what do you think about that, Mark?
I mean, it's pretty much, again, it's the same thing that we have talked about before. Like, that's all we really wanted, in this country since we were, bought here, since we was human trafficking.
Right.
So it's like when we had talked about before with the segregation and all that kind of stuff. Like, Black people didn't have a problem. Being in our own communities and being separate from the so-called whites. We never had issue with that. We just wanted to have equality. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole thing. Like, this country continues to fight against that. Any kind of progress that we have, I mean, you want to sit there and throw out, you guys had a Black president, then guess what happened after that? Y'all went crazy and gave us Trump. Exactly. So it's just the whole thing. Once again, like, it's not really, if you really sit back and think about it, like, it's not asking for anything at all. It's not asking to, like, let me take over your house. Like, reparations, I mean, once again, that's something that is old, that has been old to our people. I mean, after all, we gave Jewish people money for something that we wasn't even involved in. And I'm speaking about the Holocaust.
Exactly.
And I mean, without, trying to, I'm not anti-Semite or anything like that. I don't have any problem with Jewish people.
No, I love Jewish people because I ain't mean to cut you off on that, but I just want to say I love Jewish people because they know how to organize within their people when they know they're being discriminated against.
No question.
And they stand on that. And they have money for coffers for people to open their own companies in different places. They do a lot of things. So I'm not going to sit here and knock them because it's not their fault. It's the fault of the people who are holding us back from that. And it's our fault as well for not fighting more for it and not being more vocal about it. But as we talked about before, some of the celebrities and people who have quote unquote made it, that argument doesn't make sense to them anymore because they already have money and they feel they don't need any more. They can make their own money. So
we have to be we have to stop being so easily bought. But that's pretty much like been like the oldest game in the playbook, under like oldest play in the book, in the playbook, basically divide and conquer, and that's what white America has always done to us. They'll take a couple of us and shine us up and all that kind of stuff to get us away, to separate us away from our people, because that's the whole thing about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when we go and move into a white neighborhood, oh, we made it. We moving on up like the Jeffersons and stuff. I mean,
Right.
how many white people go out their way to like move into black neighborhoods?
Exactly.
Very few.
Very few.
I mean, you don't see that. And then, like I said, they don't know us, but at the same time, they want to like criticize things that we do, or they want to act like they know what's best for us, because it's all about that control. Like the white history has always been conquer. That's their whole history. They never built anything. They never made anything. They sit there and they see a black person or a person of color like that will invent something or come up with something, then they quick to put their name on it. I mean, that's just how it's always been. They steal from us. I mean, same thing with TikTok and all these social media programs and everything, going back to what I was speaking on earlier, as far as like black people been the economic force in this country. We make people money. It's about time we start making money for ourselves. And just to, like, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, speak on everything that you just read there again with the things, the needs, the wants, and desires of black people. Again, that shouldn't be so much to ask for, but it got to take black people to, like, you know what I'm saying, wake up and make that happen, to have like serious discipline to do so. And that is still yet to be determined, because you're talking about things that people have fought and died for 60 years ago, 70 years ago, 100 years ago.
Exactly.
Name all the famous civil rights workers and a lot of people that aren't so famous that fought and died and lost their families and stuff in the struggle. And here in 2025, I mean, yeah, we had a little progress, a little bit. You know, we can walk on the same sidewalk now as the white folks, but we are not equal when it comes to home ownership, where it comes to educational goals, and Wall Street. We're definitely not equal there. I mean, as far as on TV, yeah, okay, it's nice you got a few more, like, you know what I'm saying, black sportscasters and stuff. You got a couple more black faces that get to sit on ESPN and, you know what I'm saying, things like that. But who's running the shows? Who's, like, you know what I'm saying, who's the showrunner?
Yeah.
Who's the producers?
Yeah.
Who's the executive producers? And so on and so on. So, I mean, you know, it takes us as a people to wake up and, like, you know, really push for these things, and if we really want it, and not get so discouraged anytime somebody give us a check, thinking like, okay, well, I got a check, so I'm good now, and to hell with everybody else.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said, Mark, and I want to double back on, you know, the reparation situation, excuse me. Got a little tongue tied. But for me, do I need reparations? No. Do I want them? Yes. And the reason for that is my ancestors needed it. My grandparents needed it. My parents needed it. Why? Because they are the ones who toiled in those fields for all those years, and they got nothing from it. Nothing. Our family was deeply embedded in being in the farming, you know, and sharecropping and that whole deal. And we got nothing out of it. However, there are people who have passed on generational wealth to their children and grandchildren off of what my people did in the field. So, do I need that money? No. But do I want it? Hell yes. I want that and more on top of it.
Yeah, we definitely deserve it. But the whole reality of it is, I mean, for that to pass through, I mean, because we're done past studying, which I agree with the governor of Baltimore, Wes Moore, when he had vetoed another a bill. This was a while ago, but he vetoed a bill that they was pushing to, like, you know, study of reparations. He's like, we don't need to study it no more.
Right.
You know what I mean? How many times, how much more resources we going to put to like studying something? You got to make it happen. But the only way that we make it happen in this current situation that we're in now is, I tell you how, you're going to need about 235 votes in the House of Representatives. Mm-hmm. You're going to need at least 60 votes in the Senate, and you're going to need a president to sign off on it.
Yep.
And we are way far away from that. So again, that goes about getting your elected officials, like voting for people in power that's like-minded, the way you and I are, that like understands and respects and recognize that. That's what has to happen in this current situation.
Well,
but there are other things that we can get as society, going back to like Mayor-elect Mondani and people like that, folks like that, that's talking about affordability and opportunity. If you have affordability, where you don't have to pay a whole lot of money to put your kids in daycare, and you don't got to pay a whole lot of money for rent and to go to school and things like that, that's opportunities right there to like relieve some of the stress, to relieve some of the pressure off of your back. If you don't have to sit there and just starve because you can't afford groceries, if you can get like more like government controlled grocery stores that's going to give a more fair price, and that's going to force the other brand markets to like maybe try to compete with your low prices, to like lower their prices down some. That's all beneficial for like black people, let alone all people in this country, because that's the whole thing about it. But yes, we do deserve their reparations, absolutely. And we should never stop fighting for it. It's pretty much like Dr. King once said, to quote him, man, be true to the words that you put on paper.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's true, Mark, 100%. Now, I know that Evanston is doing it. Up in Evanston, Illinois, they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's working pretty well as people are prospering, people are making money, and they're spending money within the city of Evanston. And that's where it starts at. It's like, you look at it right now. And I know you're not in the city of Chicago, I am, but I'm looking at it from a standpoint, I don't even buy anything in the city of Chicago. And the reason for that is it's priced out. I'm not going to spend more money for something that I can easily go right to my surrounding suburbs and buy for cheaper money. And that's the point about people don't have money to do it. And in our communities, it's unfortunate because I see people going to gas stations and different things, and they're buying stuff and they're buying gas out of gas stations that you can go like 15 minutes and get for a cheaper price. So us as Black Americans, we have to, start doing our research as well, instead of just saying, I'm going to buy this from the first store I see it in.
Well, again, it takes discipline. It takes like a little bit of education and understanding, and what are your priorities? And we are still too very much programmed into doing things one way. They want it one way, but we got to recognize it's the other way. And when we get more and more and enough of us to sit there and stand tall and recognize what's going on, you will make smarter decisions. You will have more discipline, not to shop with this store that's not doing anything for your community. Look at what happened with the Target boycott, which is still ongoing. And Target continues to lose money, and there's going to be more boycotts in the future.
Well, you
got to have a plan, you got to mobilize, organize, and you got to look at the bigger picture, not just what's in front of you right now.
Well, Target is trying to change their ways a little bit because they've been working with food banks in different places to donate food and items to people, they're going through right now without SNAP benefits. So they are trying to clean up their image because they know that the holiday season is right around the corner and they want you in those stores buying things.
Oh, it's here right now. Yes, it's here right now. But that's the whole thing about it. Like, they should never capitulate it. I mean, they didn't have to sit there and do all that. Like, you know, and you know, that's a whole nother topic right there. But
Yeah.
I'm glad that they doing those things. I hope they continue to do more. I mean, it's just a simple fact is that, like, you know, people are just like, you know, tired of the nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had to they had to find out the hard way, because that's the one thing that stands with this capitalist system is like, once you start hitting people in their pockets, oh, they're gonna pay attention then.
Right. You're exactly right. Another part of that I wanted to get into, you know, is because I know you talked about it. Me and you have talked about it off air, and we've had several conversations about, you know, and this article says Ghana wants Black Americans to come home, and many are accepting the invitation. And you know, this author of this story went to find out why, and it's a lot of different reasons. Can you shed some light on why you think that some Black Americans would leave all they've ever known for a world that they don't know?
I mean, well, I mean, it just goes back to what we just discussed, like all the things that we are like asking for, like that you read in the Black Voters article. I mean, it's like I just said, like we're like asking for things that people have been fighting for decades. You know, I mean, we continue to ask for the same thing. So it's like, yes, this is the only home that, like, you know what I'm saying, we have ever known. But the thing about, like, you know what I'm saying, Black people, Africa is worldwide. Like, you can make any place your home, and it comes to time for, like, a lot of people where it's like, hey, if I don't feel free here, like, why, you know what I'm saying, why do I want to stay here? Take Stevie Wonder, for example. He left the country when he was on Oprah Winfrey show, like years ago, and then she asked him, oh, you know, why? Oh, no, why did you choose to live in, I believe he living in England, I want to say.
Yeah, he has dual citizenship, and what he said is he didn't want to live in a place where he didn't feel safe. That was his statement. But see, that's easy for Stevie Wonder to say, because Stevie Wonder has the financial means to do all these things. But for other Black Americans who are trying to do this, it's a big undertaking when you don't have anything. So it would be hard for us. It would be hard for us, Mark, to exodus a country where we know nothing about, you know, a continent that we know nothing about, and a country of Ghana that most of us know nothing about, and just say, okay, let's just up and leave, and everything will be beautiful there. It's
hard for us to move from like the city to go to like the suburbs. If you're not too familiar with that, I mean, it's more like, I mean, because I get what you're saying. I mean, and to some parts I agree. And going back with Stevie Wonder, like, yeah, he had the means and stuff. I mean, but also, like, I mean, he could have stayed here, and he could have, like, you know what I'm saying, had like lots of security, and you know what I'm saying. I mean, he's a celebrity, he's a star. He can hire people to, like, you know what I'm saying, watch his back, which is probably what he has going on over where he's at now too. I mean, but it was something more deeper than that. Like, you know, for like somebody like him to feel like, you know, he didn't feel safe in the country that's pretty much his home. I mean, it speaks to a lot, and it's like, you know, it's like it's kind of hard to put it, but like, you know, we could move around. I mean, it's like we've always been, like, you know what I'm saying, that type of people that can, like, you know what I'm saying, pick up and adapt. And it's like, not to say like, okay, let me go over in Iraq and stuff, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and make a life here, and there's like, you know, wars and bombs and all that kind of stuff happening. I mean, no, I mean, it's more smarter in Ghana. I mean, after all, it is the motherland, and that's a country in Africa that actually is doing pretty well. They actually have pretty like decent politics there. Their whole political system is different for when they vote. Well, like they they pretty much vote for the whole party. It's like the whole party that's in charge. It's not like, you got some Democrats here and some Republicans there, but it's like, the people have a choice to vote that party's agenda, and that's what they pretty much do.
We spoke about that.
If there's like opportunities for like, like black people to have a better life somewhere, I mean, I don't begrudge anybody from taking that. I mean, like, yes, the like United States is a place that we was born in and all that kind of stuff, but it's like really like, we how strong are we as Americans? Like how, like, we would say we Americans, I mean, just long enough to keep, to keep the foot off our neck, so to speak.
Well, and we spoke about that on one of the previous podcasts when we got into that discussion about, leaving America, leaving the United States, and going to the continent of Africa and the country of Ghana and all, all the other places that are over there. But I just look at it like this. Are we fighting or are we fleeing? What are we doing? I mean, are we we're so tired of persecution and being mistreated and downtrodden that we just give up and throw our hands up and say,
well, what are we fighting for though? I mean, like Gerard and West here, like this so-called nation, I mean, well, this has never been a nation. It's a country of many nations, but I mean, this system that what we have going on right now, it is dying. It's collapsing. It's gonna collapse. It's gonna break. Now, from that, I would hope that it's able to be like, rebuild into a better society. But it's gonna be a whole lot more pain and despair, before we get to that point. That's just the whole reality of the situation. I mean, we're pretty much at a blink of a civil war. I mean, that's just reality of it.
Well, that may happen in a couple of years when it's time to elect another president. Will we be electing one, or will a dictator be installed?
You might see that in a matter of weeks and stuff. I mean, with this government shutdown and people be hungry, the people go get in the streets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be. I mean, you already saying it with the ICE officers and stuff. They just in Chicago, which I'm sure that you talked about and covered. I mean, pulling out the school teacher.
Yeah.
In front of kids and doing. I mean, it's like it's just nonsense after nonsense. So I mean, like I don't look at it as like more like fleeing, like cutting and running. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna try something else somewhere else. And I mean, if people like, feel that they can do that and they want to do that, I mean, I'm saying like it's possible. I'm not saying like that's the only option to answer, but it's like, I mean, this isn't like necessarily home. Home is wherever you can make it be.
Right. I agree with that 100%. I agree with everything you just said on that. I mean, I don't begrudge anyone to go anywhere and make a better life for themselves if that's what they want to do. I just think that some of us need to stay here and fight. I mean, all of us can't go, but the ones that are left here, we need to continue the good fight, even if we don't see it.
I don't think everybody is jumping up and going right now. I mean, like, I forgot what comedian said that joke and stuff. Like, was saying how like Africans are like be mad at like Black Americans and all that kind of stuff, and then like and the punchline was like, well, I mean, I said y'all never came back for us though. Right. Nobody never sent no boats to get us back.
Right.
So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't think we're gonna be seeing any like gunner ships on the shores anytime soon. Okay, come on, y'all, come on back now.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't foresee that happening.
Yeah, that's true. I agree 100% with what you just said. I mean, I don't see it just being one of those scenarios where everybody goes and nobody sends any ships. So I agree with that.
Yeah, no, whether we like it or not, like we are too. I mean, like I said, we too much sunken into this place. Like a lot of us, I mean, this is all we know, like you said. I mean, like, the few that's like, but again, I mean, it comes with being more like, educated and being more like aware of like, you know what I'm saying, who you are, being more aware of the world and all that to make those type of decisions to be like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and, you know, go somewhere else. I mean, I believe we all do need more education and like, you know, I encourage everybody to like, you know, get more better educated about like, you know, what's going on in the world, not just in our small bubble. I mean, we know what we know, but I mean, we can always know more. And, you know, we cannot be afraid to learn more, to learn real history and real truth, not just his story. I mean, like I said, Trump is going to tell you whatever. Trump is up. I've been saying how great the country is right now, how much trillions of dollars that we getting invested in and all that kind of stuff, that America is hot right now. It's the best it's ever been. But yeah, we got a government shutdown and people are starving and farmers are losing their farm,
Yeah.
and so on and so on. So it's like, how you gonna have it both ways? Then turn around and be like, well, you know, like we inherited a mess from like Joe Biden and blah blah blah. But I mean, once again, that's projection.
Right.
Joe Biden inherited a mess.
Right.
I mean, come on, sir. But I mean, he's gonna tell you what he's gonna sit there and tell you. And if you sucker enough to sit there and believe that, that's on you.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't vote for this. I voted for a black woman. I got a shirt that says so.
Right.
So I mean, for like those of you, if we got people that's listening, and y'all sit there and think, "Oh man, we need to vote for this." It's on you. You voted for this. I did not choose this.
Yeah.
I chose common sense.
Yeah, you're 100% right on that, Mark. You know, everything you just said and laid out is right out there in front of you. So, you know, I'm going to make my closing statement about what I think Black Americans want. And I think Black Americans want to be treated fairly. We want proper representation. We want to be treated as equals. And anything less would be uncivilized. Those are the things that we want in my eyes, Mark. This is what I see. This is how I feel, you know. And it's one of those deals where they say, no matter what we do, we'll never be accepted. I agree with that, but I don't necessarily think it has to mold us. We have to change the way we think and say, look, as a whole, are we getting the job done? When we look in the mirror every day, can we say that we are actively getting the job done at being the best that we can be? And push and motivate one another. We may not always agree on everything, but we can agree to one thing. We all deserve dignity and respect. What do you want to say on the end of it?
I mean, I agree with all of that. Now, I just add, like, to that part of, like, you know, when you had made the statement or, you know, the quote there about us never be accepted. I mean, with a statement like that, I mean, first thing come to mind is accepted by who?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, because because that's plays, we have to get away from needing that white validation. And we discussed this before. We talked about it last week with the Negro lead and this and that. It's like you always need that white validation. You need to win an Oscar, you know, the Academy Award, like the BET Award. Okay, that's just a black one. It's like, no, we got to stop doing that to ourselves, and that's why I would give props to like people like Tyler Perry, who said like, hey, I don't want to see that. Okay, I can't get a seat at the table. I'm gonna build my own table.
Right.
I'm gonna do my own damn thing.
Right.
And that's how more people have to start, like, you know what I'm saying, feeling and believing it and understanding. First of all, we don't have to say black excellence. Like, we are already great.
Right.
We got to recognize and realize our greatness. We got to recognize and realize what we bring to the table and what we do for this economy. Black people give trillions of dollars to this economy every year. Every year.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the whole reality of the situation. So, I mean, it's like, you don't need to, like, accept us and love us and like us and all that kind of stuff, but you can be as racist as you want to be, because I don't see racism going away anytime. I mean, it's going to always be like that way. That's all fine and dandy and everything like that. All we looking for is basic humanity and human rights, and that shouldn't be so much to ask for. That's all. We're all human beings. It's that simple. I mean, it's like we should have rights. Bottom line, you should have rights. You should have opportunities to work wherever you want to work at. If you're good enough to, like, you know what I'm saying, do that job, you should, deserve that job because you had touched on affirmative action and DEI and all those type of things. I mean, which I've said numerous times and continue to say, people who benefited from those programs were white women. Mm-hmm. I mean, and like that's something that's not said enough. It's not no like, okay, we just gonna put any old black dude and let him fly a plane. No, you got to be qualified.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's like, come on, man. It's like the people like that. It's just like, I don't know. It just blows me when people sit there and believe that, like, okay, any black dude come in off the street, like, yeah, you gonna give them a job to fly a plane or to help build a building. If you don't got no skill, if you didn't go through college and all that kind of stuff, all those studies to be a doctor, to be a lawyer, to be a dentist, to be whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to put that work in. You just can't get to do stuff. Like, why would I want a doctor to work on my car?
Right.
And he's not a mechanic. I mean,
right.
Come on, man.
Right.
It's like, come on. But, you know. Yeah, I mean, like I said, freedom, and that's it. Freedom and humanity, just rights. Basic human rights. And we'd be all right.
Well, all right, folks. There it is right there. We just summed up what Black Americans want right here on the Grown Men Podcast. It's been a heck of a show. We had a lot of topics that we talked about, and I'm quite sure between now and next week we'll have more to discuss.
And the sad part about that, real quick, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, like, you know, with what Black Americans want and need of it, you can go on, like, you know what I'm saying, for like hours and days with this. I mean, so, yeah, it's just a lot to think about, definitely.
Well, I'm quite sure we're going to talk about this more on the Grown Men Podcast because, as you said, we still don't have all the things we want or need, but hey, we're working on it and we're going to keep trying and we're going to keep talking about it. And we're going to keep using this platform to express that. Because as I said before, we're not going to get into political heavy issues unless they involve us as Black Americans trying to advance. Yes, we're in that. But other than that, we're going to talk about a variety of topics because that's what we are here to do. Talk about what grown men should be talking about in their communities. Well, I'm glad my brother Mark came in once again. Via remotely, he'll probably be back in We Rise Studios sooner than you think. We always working on different things behind the scenes that we trying to get done. Mark, thanks for coming in.
I say.
All right. Well, folks, head on over to WeRiseNation.com. Check out our blog. See the different things we got going on over there. See what We Rise Nation is about. Well, until next week, I am your host, BAN, and I will talk to you soon.
This where the grown men stay so you can kill that noise. We be the best to do it coming out of Illinois. So sit back and relax, close your mouth and listen. We about to hit you with this knowledge that you've been missing. Listen closely to the Grown Men Podcast. We Rise Nation is the station with the gift of gab. We dropping knowledge on these topics that you wanna hear. We on point with it, get the picture loud.